ipakita natin sa buong mundo na ang Pilipino may kakayanan na magpahusay ng kabuhayan Pilipino.
That we call on all patriotic Filipinos to discard ideological differences, party affiliations, disparity of religious beliefs and regional origins, to close our ranks, stand behind one flag, commit our honor, dedicate our lives to fight as best we can in defense of our country.
Ang ating katipunan. Ang ating katipunan. Ang palatuntunang maghahatid sa inyo ng mahahalagang impormasyon tungkol sa mga kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Ang ating katipunan.
Magbibigay liwanag sa mga katanungang nagdudulot ng pagkalito sa mga mamamayan hango sa aral ng pandaigdigang kasaysayan.
Ang ating katipunan.
Makikinig sa inyong mga daing at kuro-kuro sa pagsusuri ng mga kasalukuyang suliranin ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo.
Ang ating katipunan.
Maglalatag ng kalutasan ng mga sanhi ng paghihirap ng kalagayan at kabuhayan ng sambayanan.
Ang ating katipunan.
Ihahatid sa inyo ni Itos Valdes ng Philippine LaRouche Society, Save the Nation Movement, Solidarity for Sovereignty Movement, Renaissance Philippines, at Partido Politikal ng Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino, kasama si Cathy Cruz.
Ang oras sa hudyat, 7:02 na po ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time, May 21, 2023. Kayo po ay nakikinig sa himpilan na Arman DZXL 558 AM band. Napapanood nyo din po sa social media accounts ang Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino o Katipunan Channel. Ang himpilang ito ay kasapi ng KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas. Magandang gabi mga katipon sa Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. Ito po ang inyong katipon, Cathy Cruz, kasama pa rin ang tunay na bida ng palatuntunang ito, si Itos Valdes. Magandang gabi sa iyo, Itos.
Hi, good evening Cathy at sa lahat ng tagapakinig ng ang ating katipunan at sa mga giting na engineer and staff dyan sa RMN DZXL. Good evening po sa lahat na who will join us tonight. Thank you Cathy, thank you Bear at sa lahat ng mga staff natin dito sa ating katipunan.
Thank you, Itos. At syempre, mainit ang talakayan natin ngayong gabi. Kaya samahan niyo po kami sa loob ng 2 oras sa pagpapaliwanag po ni Itos Valdes. Pansamantala, gusto ko munang ibigay sa inyo ang ating mga text line. Meron po tayong Katipunan text line 0916-637-626. Ulitin ko po, 0916-363-7626. Para sa lahat po ng mga kababayan natin na wala pong social media account at nakikinig po sa himpilan po ng Arman DZXL. Pwede po kayo mag-text o pwede po kayo magpadala ng sulat troniko sa LaRouche Philippines at gmail.com at katipunanchannel@gmail.com. Maaari rin po kayo mag-iwan ng comments sa social media accounts ng Partido KDP FB page at YouTube. May kasama din po ba tayo? Ayan, na mamaya ay mababanggitin po natin ang mga kasama natin. Pero syempre nakikinig din po ang lead convener ng Save the Nation Movement. Walang iba kundi si Engineer Lemmy Rojas. Nagtatampo na si Engineer Lemmy dahil nung mga nakaraang Sunday ay nakalimutan ko po siya. But of course, pwede ba natin kalimutan? Hindi lang po natin siya nababate pero hindi po natin nakakalimutan ang lead convener ng Save the Nation Movement. Walang iba kundi ang dati pong PSME of Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers President Engineer Lemmy Rojas. Okay, sa unang arangkada, Itos, nakita ko kasi ang iyong post tungkol dito sa binabanggit mong mga failed government, failed state ba tayo? Ang gobyerno ay tila nawalan ng kontrol sa mga institusyon na ngayon ay mahalagang pinapasyahan o pinasyahan ng mga pribadong negosyo, mga pangunahing serbisyo, kaligtasan at seguridad, kalusugan, no? Seguridad, kalusugan, seguridad sa pagkain, seguridad sa enerhiya, at patakaran sa kalakalan at maraming iba pa. Ano ba ang kahulugan ng Mussolini upang tukuyin ang isang pasistang estado? Ano ang maaaring gawin upang mailigtas ang republika? Nako, yan yung nakita ko na post mo sa ating sa iyong social media account, Itos. At alam ko na yung mga binabanggit mo ay may pinagbubutan ka. At ito ay mga mabibigat na pahayag na sinabi mo sa iyong o pinost mo sa iyong social media account. Pwede bang ipaliwanag mo sa ating mga kababayan kung bakit naoobserbahan mong tila bigo ang estado, Itos?
Thank you, Cathy. Oh, actually, pinost ko as a question, no? Are we a failed state? Para akong nagbibigay ng question sa universe, no? Kasi sa katotohanan, I was expressing my frustration with I had just been observing and watching the online hearing sa Senado po. Particularly this about yung recent buy-bust operation kuno with the billions worth of shabu na tila kasangkot, maraming kasangkot dito, at si Senator Bato was the chairman of that committee and he was asking questions, kasama po si Senator Revilla at si Senator Jinggoy. Ngayon, sinusubaybayan ko rin to. I wanted to see kung ano ba. Pero na-frustrate ako, naramdaman ko rin yung frustration ng mga senador. Kung tila lahat ng mga tinatanong nila, from the heads of the police, from the lower ranked police to the higher ranked ones, tila hindi nila sinasagot ng maayos yung mga tanong ng senador, no? And it seems like the frustration was boiling over, and they could not get straight answers from anybody. Even Senator Bato, who was head of PNP during the last administration, was also expressing frustration at not being able to get any statement of truth. Alam mo, kasi po yung Senate hearings, hindi po yan korte ng hindi po yan judicial hearings. So you can always choose not to answer. So you can invoke your right against self-incrimination. So pag katabi mo yung lawyer mo, pag ayaw mo sagutin, sasabihin niyo, I choose to remain quiet. I choose to take the fifth, Your Honor. And wala po silang magagawa. Ang mga Senado po ay legislator. So lahat ng hearing doon ay in the interest of legislation. So it cannot pass judgment. It cannot give sentences. It cannot give out. It can only recommend, for example, that charges will be filed against certain individuals they believe had broken the law. But they cannot file those cases as a Senate body. So it's just in the aid of legislation, they're trying to get to the bottom of it. On top of this, there was also a hearing, and Senator Bato was in charge of it also, about yung recent murder of Governor Degamo ng Negros Oriental, na parang kasangkot ito si Congressman Teves. And it's the same thing. So nagtatanong sila sa mga involved, and meanwhile Congressman Teves is out of the country and he does not want to come home. In fact, he sought asylum political asylum dun sa East Timor and was rejected. And then I think that the NBI has already filed a warrant of arrest against him to go against him. So he's an international fugitive. But during the hearing po, nakikita ko na walang tila parang yung institutions ng government. In both cases, the police, the judiciary, and even the simple agencies of government are rendered inutile. They're rendered useless by private armies and private individuals. So I got to thinking, naisip ko na rin, kung ang police natin at ang security services at ang local governments are easily manipulated and corrupted by warlords, political warlords, and even these smugglers and drug pushers and drug lords and drug traffickers, pati na yung mga police kasi hindi naman sila yayamanin, so they are subject also to the ups and downs of the economic condition of the country. Sila rin na huhulog sa corruption. Madali silang i-corrupt, madaling bigyan ng pera. So that has become a cycle. And these are the supposed institutions that are supposed to protect us. That are supposed to be bastions of our republic. And then, napaisip rin ako, yung economic side. Kasi po, 'di ba, yung ating kuryente, ating tubig, ating pagkain, ang gobyerno ba ay in control dito? Hindi na, kasi binigay na natin sa pribado. So pati po yung side na yon, kontrolado ng mga private interest, pati na ang DOH natin, ang health natin. Hindi na nagdidikta yung mga doktor, hindi na nagdidikta yung mga scientists, ang dumidikta yung mga pharmacy companies kung anong gusto niyang mangyari. Yung balita ngayon, yung buong mundo bumubukas na. Pati yung US, wala nang requirement, vaccine requirement pumunta sa US, bukas na. Bakit tayo parang bumabalik tayo sa dati? Gusto tayong pabalikin sa dati, tayo lang yung ganyan eh. Yung ibang mga bansa, alam na tapos na yan. At parang trangkaso lang yan, madali na yan. Kahit hindi lahat ng populasyon bakunado, pero ito parang tila pinipilit pa rin, gusto pa rin ibenta. So even that is control. So looking at all of that, sabi ko, paano na si yung citizen Juan, yung ating Pilipino, lahat ng buhay niya kontrolado ng pribadong interes. Wala na po ang gobyerno. At tila incompetent ang gobyerno, hindi sila makagalaw. Hindi na nila kontrolado yung kanilang dapat i-control. So they have lost their mandate to govern. And these are institutions. And this is not overnight po, naisip ko. This is since decades ago, slowly. And now we are feeling it. Because matagal na pong nangyayaring to, ngayon lang pumuputok. At wala nang ang control. Okay, so that's what, yun na nga. So sa frustration ko, sa galit ko, sa lungkot ko, naglagay lang ako po sa Facebook kasi wala naman akong kausap kundi kayo, 'di ba? Sa Facebook na lang tayo nag-usap. Naglagay lang ako, parang nag-iisip ako, are we a failed state? Kasi ayaw po nating aminin na failed state tayo kasi mahal na mahal natin ang ating republika, 'di ba? Pero we have to take a long hard look at what our country really is. Who really controls? Has government lost control of our institutions and our bodies? kung tignan po natin lahat ng ahensya ng gobyerno, lahat ng inilalagay nila, lahat may conflict of interest. Lahat po. Okay? Lahat, telecommunications, DILG, urban housing, lahat. Lahat may conflict of interest. Pero nilalagay pa rin nila dyan. So, ang mamumuno dyan, yung pribadong interest ng mismong secretary na nakaupo dyan. Hindi ba ho? So, wala siyang parang hindi siya neutral. So, lahat na nga nilalagay ng tao may conflict of interest. And it is dictated by private interest, not the public interest. So, by any measure po, kung titignan po natin across the board, even with the judiciary, even with the legislative, even with the executive, parang pwede nating sabihin, hindi na nagpo-function yung ating gobyerno. Gusto nga nilang gawin pribado lahat, di ba? And we have to remember, pag pribado po lahat, wala silang interest sa kapakanan ng taong bayan. They do not care about the general welfare. That's why they want the Constitution changed. That's why they want. What's leading this fight is not government. What's leading this fight is private interest working through government, working through our legislative, our congressmen and Senate, working through our judiciary to approve this. No, did we ever have, for example, pati EDCA, did we ever have a consultative open hearings on that? Nag-decide lang. Hindi ba? So ano ba talaga ang Republika ng Pilipinas? Yan po ang reason why we put it up there. Yan po ang reason why we siguro po in the coming days I will expand that thought and write a longer treatise or write a longer essay on it, and maybe provoke some thinking among our patriots in the Philippines, yung mga natitirang patriotikong Pilipino, right? To maybe take action or to think and to examine our institutions and our states. This is not a one issue. Hindi po to isang issue lang. This is the whole republic. This is the whole government. Our institutions have been effectively destroyed. And those leading it and those dictating are private interests. And our government, even our president who is elected by the people, only has 6 years to fix everything. And he has to accommodate all the private and public interests. That's the fight that he faces every day. That is a president. That is our president. That is what all presidents face. And in history, nakikita po natin kung sinong presidente talaga yung makatao at makarepublika at kung sinong hindi. Diba? So, ito na yung batayan. So siguro po, yan lang po, Cathy, yung initial na explanation ko. Bakit ko nilagay, bakit ko nilabas yun. At when we talk about the failed state. Kasi delikado po yung failed state. Kasi right after a failed state in history po, pag ang republika ay hindi na nagfa-function po at lumalakas ang pribadong interest at walang trabaho yung mga tao kasi wala naman pakialam yung mga pribado eh. Kung mataas ang sweldo mo, wala naman silang pakialam. Basta sila pera ang gusto ng mga private interest eh. Ang mga kumpanya. They want money. Kaya wala silang pakialam. Tataas yata yung singil sa kuryente ngayon eh. Okay? And then tataas yung singil ng tubig soon. And that will cause rise in goods and services also. Right? So, yung sinasabi ng presidente natin na bababa ang inflation, bumabagal ang inflation. Sabi ng central bank, hindi po nila kontrolado. Paano nila sasabihin hindi mangyayari? Okay? Tapos yung ang kawawa diyan yung taong bayan talaga as usual. So ang delikado po diyan na natatakot ako kasi once may failed state, doon po in history pumupunta ang bansa, ang isang bansa na bagsak ang republic at an economy. Nangyayari po more often than not, nagiging fascist state ang sunod niyan. Magiging pasista na tayo kasi ang mangyayari dyan, pag bumagsak ang ekonomiya, pag hindi na nakontrol ng gobyerno ang taong bayan at hindi na nakontrol ang pagtaas ng bilihin at pagtaas ng lahat, kuryente at lahat at yung taong bayan, crime will go up. Gutom kasi yung mga tao, they will continue to suffer. Yung reaction naman ng government is to increase their control. They will increase their control and they will increase their police. They will control the police and try to control their population up to a point that they will declare martial law and become a fascist state. That's where we're going. And when that happens, all bets are off po. It seems to be leading towards that because there is no direction that we can see that would stop it, that will mitigate the suffering of our people. It seems that from all aspects, from food, energy, health, everything, binubugbog ang taong bayan. There's nothing improving. Okay, so this is what we're facing. And this is not only the Philippines po. Hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, kundi sa buong mundo. Kasi it's the same story. Yung lahat ng mga liderato gusto kontrolin ang buhay ng tao pero hindi nila makontrol ang pagtaas ng bilihin, hindi nila makontrol yung pribadong sektor kasi pareho lang sa atin, binigay nila ang kontrol ng gobyerno dito sa mga pribadong interes, sa mga bangko, sa mga corporations. And now, people are protesting and hindi lang lumalabas po sa mga mainstream media, hindi natin makikita dyan. Sa lahat, sa radyo at sa TV at sa newspapers, hindi nila binabalita mga protesta sa Europe, sa Netherlands, France. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin po yan. Against their own government. In Germany, meron. Dahil sa pagtaas ng bilihin, dahil sa pagsira ng ekonomiya, hindi nila pinapakita sa atin because they are propaganda outlets. Yun lang sa kanila. They are propaganda outlets. They are not news organizations anymore. This is what's happening po sa mundo. Kaya po natatakot, I get frustrated kasi how will we save the nation? Ano ba yung path natin dito po sa KDP? Kasama po si Cathy, si Chairman dati, Chairman Butch. We have crafted a blueprint of how to save the nation. Tayo lang po ang may ganyan. Itong Katipunan Demokratikong Pilipino, which is our national political party, has a blueprint. We have an answer. Short-term and long-term. We've always had the answer. But we do not have the funding nor the power to implement that. But what we will do is we will just be as loud as we can, hoping that more and more people will see us. Because ang kalaban po natin, maano talaga. So, we are approaching that stage where government or those in the power will have to make a decision. Because life is getting harder and harder and harder for the ordinary Filipino. That's not even talking about the threat of war sa Taiwan with the US and China and all of that. Hindi pa yun kasama. Pero imagine po natin, yan ang papunta na tayo. That's what's frustrating po. Kaya ako naglagay sa Facebook or sa Twitter kasi yan na po yung means of communication natin ngayon in the modern age. At sana may mag-react sa atin and then we will see. Maybe we can maybe we can form a think tank or a group together so to move towards an alternative, to offer an alternative solution as long as our people accept it. This is what's happening po. Yun lang po, Kat. Thank you for allowing me to talk this much.
Medyo paano ko ba sabihin to? Nakakatakot, kumbaga, kung iisipin ko yung sinasabi mo, Itos, parang nangangamba ako para sa susunod na henerasyon. Okay? Nangangamba ako dahil kung ganito ang patuloy na mangyayari ito, na patuloy na babagsak ang Estado, patuloy na babagsak ang mga serbisyo para sa taong bayan, maraming mamamatay. Marami, hindi lang sa gera, kundi sa kahirapan ng buhay. Kung kanina inisa-isa mo yung peace and order, yung economic, healthcare, tapos dagdagan pa natin itong foreign relations plus education natin. Sa halip na bumuti, tila lumalala. At kabaligtaran nito doon sa pinagtibay na deklarasyon ng kalayaan, yung Declaration of Independence ng Bansang Amerika noong July 4, 1776. Na ang lahat ng tao ay nilikhang pantay-pantay na sila ay pinagpaluban ng kanilang tagapaglikha ng tiyak na karapatan na kabilang sa mga ito ay ang buhay, kalayaan, at ang paghahangad ng kaligayahan. That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Kapag ganito, Itos, ano ang pwede natin gawin bukod dun sa is it possible ba na pwede natin palitan ang pamahalaan, ang gobyerno, ang namumuno? Hindi ba dapat ganon? Kasi hindi na maganda yung nangyayari, hindi na para sa sambayan ng Pilipino at hindi na para proteksyonan ang ating bansa, Itos.
Yes, in the Declaration of Independence also, it also says that it is not just the right, but it is the duty of citizens to replace that which government, that which is causing the general welfare to go down, or causing that strife and causing that human condition na inaapi na sila at nagugutom na sila, at it is their duty as citizens of the Republic to replace that. Now, we invented a system wherein we will which is called the presidential system, na iboboto natin yung tingin natin yung karapat-dapat. But that presidential system, although feeling ko I subscribe to it po na it is the best sort of system for government. Okay, governing human beings. It is only as good. It is only as good as its citizens. Kumbaga, kung ang inyong citizens, kung ang mga Pilipino mas gusto yung mga pinapanood, yung mga Showtime or Eat Bulaga or mga ganon, syempre, sino iboboto nila? Hindi po sila makakaisip ng matino about their future. Kasi gusto lang nila nasisiyahan. Kasi yung buhay nila napakahirap, buhay nila ang daming problema. So gusto lang silang, they just want couple of hours a day. But, yun lang nga. If that is majority of your citizenship, paano na pag-eleksyon? Hindi po natin sinasabi, assuming na ang eleksyon ay malinis. Pero ang bumoboto, walang iniisip na history, or hindi alam yung economic condition ng bayan, or hindi alam yung mga diferensya between a fascist state and a free trade and protectionism, sino-sinong iboboto nila? Di ba ho? Kahit malinis ang eleksyon natin, pag ang citizenry, ang mga Pilipino hindi marunong pumili, ganun pa rin. Bagsak pa rin ang lipunan natin, which is I think what we're seeing now. Okay? Even Duterte, alam mo, yung past administration natin, si Rodrigo Duterte, he did a lot of good things to his best abilities, and we have to give him that. And he was very decisive and he was not as consistent as we wanted him to be. Pero dito sa ating Katipunan kasi, napakataas ng kalidad gusto natin eh. Hindi ba? Medyo tayo eh, hard to please tayo dito sa ating Katipunan at sa KDP, di ba? Gusto natin ng presidente natin perpektong tao eh, di ba? So pero sa most of our fellow citizens, high marks pa rin ang binigay nila kay Duterte kasi alam nila decisive at alam nila para sa Pilipino ang ginagawa niya. Okay? Hindi para sa foreign interest. Kahit sabihin ng mga iba masyado siyang close sa China. Pero ang logic si China lang nagbibigay naman sa atin eh, para sa atin rin naman 'yan eh, 'di ba? Mga projects, mga everything. Infrastructure projects, roads, bridges, everything. Ang frustration nga ni Duterte yung Kongreso. At honestly, yung Central Bank kasi sila nag-a-approve ng mga projects at lahat eh. So hindi niya ma-push through. But again, also it doesn't mean we had to give the president hindi naman kami parang fans ni Duterte. Sinasabi lang natin he did very well, and the Filipinos majority of which felt the change. Their lives had changed. So he in that sense was successful. Okay, so but we need more. At this stage of humanity, at this period that we're facing now, in the coming period, hindi po we cannot accept anything mediocre. Hindi po natin pwedeng sabihin okay na siya. Okay na naman kasi mabait naman. Kasi ang resulta nga is sickness and death at this point.
That's right.
Okay? So, yun lang po, Kath. It's nakakatakot nga kasi nakikita ko papunta na doon kasi hindi nila malulutas. Hindi ko alam kung paano nila malulutas. Wala akong senyales na malulutas nila. Ang problema ng pagtaas ng mga bilihin, electricity is going up. That means food will go up. Water is going to go up. The prices. Sino ma-apekto dyan? And that means cost of health will also go up. Right away, ma-apekto po yung ating mga kababayan, majority po ng ating mga kababayan. Yung mga mayayaman, hindi nila mararamdaman yan. Pero yung transport will go up. Ramdam na nila yan. So we're approaching that. And nothing is being done. I don't see any major... You need to make major moves or policy decisions right now to mitigate the rise of this. And you cannot import more. You will be forced to import more for a while. But yung mga bansa, they also need their food. We are importing from where? Kailangan nila ng mga pagkain. And as the world moves towards this, ang buong mundo po ay in a depression right now. Walang bansang right now that is making so much money maliban sa maybe Russia or China. or even Saudi Arabia, sila na nag-uusap sa BRICS. Dito tayo sa Titanic. Nag-uusap tayo kung paano tayo, ano bang dinner natin mamayang gabi, anong menu natin, lumulubog na yung barko. 'Di ba? Ano bang susuotin mo mamayang gabi? 'Di ba?
Yung pa yung naiisip.
Oo, sa party natin, anong susuotin mo? Pero lumulubog na, yung iba umalis na sa barko. Nasa lifeboats na. So that's where my frustration lies, and that's my fear. But in any metric of our society, if you look at all our agencies, our departments, and the judiciary, the executive, and our legislative, I'm sorry to say that it looks like we are a failed state. Government has no power except to police and to use as weapons against its enemies. That's it. Pero it has no power it has no institutional power anymore to protect, for example, ordinary citizens against those with money. Our policemen, our police organizations, the corruption is inside and has spread. The cancer has spread to each and every, and most of that is because of money. Mga police natin po, wala rin makain eh. 'Di ba? Our AFP, our armed forces, have to rely on, and parang minamanage sila yung relationship nila with the US now para lang makatanggap ng aid. We don't have an armed forces to speak of. We cannot wage war. If you cannot wage war, what do you call your armed forces? You have to be in a position to be able to fight a war. If not, then you cannot call your armed forces unarmed forces. So we don't have that capability. All of that, our Department of Health does not follow the science. It follows the commerce.
Ika.
That does not follow any logical. There's no other voice in terms of health. Tapos lahat ng tao sa gobyerno, Congress, and sunod lang sa Department of Health recommendations kasi alam nila kung anong gusto ng mga big pharma na nagbabayad. Our media, yung media po natin just goes along. Totally corrupt and totally compromised. They're not real journalists, they're propaganda. They just repeat what's told to them. O ito press release. Ito sponsor natin, so kailangan natin ito. Hindi natin pwedeng tamaan yung mga ibang sponsor dyan kasi hindi na sila magbibigay ng pera. Hindi ba? Hindi lang dito po sa Pilipinas yan. Yung buong media, mainstream media sa buong mundo, ganun rin. Lahat sila compromise. And as life gets harder for the ordinary Filipino, independent outlets through, for example, here, internet, Facebook, and others, gets harder for the ordinary Filipino to reach. Kasi wala na silang pambayad kasi lahat nilagay na nila sa kuryente o sa pagkain para sa mga pamilya nila. So bukas na lang sila ng TV, manonood ng news, yan na yung information nila. Yun na yun. Yan ang Republika ng Pilipinas ngayon po. That is the state of our nation. Okay? And any statesman, self-proclaimed statesman in any part of government, judiciary, executive, legislative, who likes to call himself a statesman, must tell the truth of the state of the nation. You have to be truthful to the Filipino people. Kailangan sabihin nyo yung totoo at sabihin nyo ito ang gagawin namin para malutas yan. Ito ang pathway natin. Pero kailangan sabihin ng totoo. Hindi nyo pwede sabihin ganda-ganda ng buhay natin. Di ba? Hindi pwedeng ganyan. Hindi tayo nabubuhay sa pelikula. Di ba? So ito yung nangyayari, and I'm afraid na it's leading up to that kasi nakikita po natin walang ginagawa eh. There's nothing to be done with it. Our debt, external and internal, is so much. You cannot pay it. It cannot be paid as is. So is there an effort to restructure? No. Our goods are getting higher. The prices are going up. What is the measures to bring it down and bring it down permanently? So we are in the world has declared an end to this lockdown and this craziness of this recent so-called virus. Did we go back to pre-lockdown prices in everything? Oil, electricity. Hindi, tumataas pa. Ngayon, gusto pa lang taasan. And that's a domino effect. What is being done to do this? Are we going to implement a policy of increased production in food? At least food. So hindi magugutom ang mga kababayan natin. Wala naman silang ginagawa. Walang policy. There is no strategy. Ang strategiya po, utang pa rin ng utang. Yung pinaka-landmark legislation niya is the Maharlika Bill. Nakukuha pa ng pera sa gobyerno para maglaro sa stock market. Yan ang strategiya nila. Have we mitigated the deaths? Have we examined the excess deaths caused in the last 3 years? Have we examined those numbers? Have we determined and made a logical conclusion as to why people are dying until now of quote-unquote unknown causes? Suddenly dying. Meron ba tayong investigation diyan? Hindi. Ang tinutulak pa rin ng Department of Health, bagong bakuna. Di ba? So even that, paano na yung taong bayan? Now you tell me, all men are created equal and therefore have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Lahat po, hindi lang yung mga mayayaman. Lahat po. Now, when your government is not fulfilling that mandate, not taking care of what they call the general welfare, which is in our preamble, which is in our constitution, kahit gusto nilang tanggalin, nandun pa rin siya. Pag hindi nila ginagawa yan, how can you say we are a successful republic? And therefore, if we are not a successful republic, what must be done to bring us back to that? Those are the questions po na kailangan tanungin natin. First, sa sarili natin, if you understand it. Secondly, what to do about it. Because nobody in his right mind believes that we are a successful republic. Ang sasabihin lang nila, democracy, magulo talaga yan, wala tayong magagawa dyan. Ganun talaga buhay. Pero laban lang, sige lang, ganyan. Hindi. Kasi nagawa na dati. We have so many examples around the world and in history na nagawa na dati. It only takes, nangangailangan lang tayo ng mga patriotikong Pilipino to get together and decide the direction of our country. Now, if those patriots do not include members of Congress, members of the judiciary, then they will have to step aside and make way for the patriots to take back our republic and put it back on the and make it exist as it was conceived by the people who had given their lives and their sacred honor to make it come into fruition. Ika nga ni Benjamin Franklin, tinanong siya after the American Revolution, what now, Mr. Franklin? Nanalo na tayo. Nag-declare na tayo ng gera against Britain. Sabi niya, what do we do now? What do we have now? Sabi niya, well, you have a republic if you can keep it. So hindi ibig sabihin, nag-declare tayo ng independence June 12. Okay na, tapos ang boxing. Hindi po, we have to keep fighting for the republic. We have to keep fighting for our nation's honor and the republic for which it stands. Ganun lang po. Hindi po tapos ang laban, tapos hindi pwedeng nakaupo lang nanonood ng NBA, PBA, Gilas, or whatever. Tapos isipin natin na tapos na ang boxing. Yun lang po, Kat, for now. Thank you.
Well, actually, nung binanggit mo itong tungkol sa mga namamatay, Pilipinong namamatay, according sa PSA, sinasabi na 2,409 deaths registered per day, o sinasabing 8 namamatay kada 1,000 populasyon. Pero ito po ay registered, hindi. Marami pa rito ang tiyak ko na hindi pa na irerehistro, na itatala ng PSA. At madalas, naalala ko tuloy ang sinasabi ni Chairman Butch noon gaano tayo kasigurado na yung mga namamatay ay dahil lamang sa sakit? Sabi nga niya, hindi naman daw na itatala yung hindi naman sinasabi sa death certificate na kagutuman ang sanhi ng pagkamatay ng ating mga kababayan. At tinatanong din nung iba nating mga kababayan yung gusto kong balikan lang yung bakit nawalan ng kontrol yung ating pamahalaan. Bakit napunta sa pribadong sektor ang lahat ng mga public utilities, bakit napunta lahat yung para bang pinagkatiwala, at sa halip na kumbaga dapat 'di ba ang pamahalaan ang nasa isip niya ay magserbisyo, ibigay ang mahusay na pamumuhay, 'di ba? Ang kapayapaan at ang kaayusan dito sa ating bansa. Pero tila hindi ganito yung nangyayari. Kaya lagi natanong ng mga kababayan natin, bakit at paano ba nangyari ito na nawalan ng kontrol ang institusyon? Bakit at paano ba na ang mga pamahalaan natin ay binigay na lang lahat ang pangangasiwa sa pribadong sektor, ang mga pangangailangan ng ating bansa?
Yeah, it's hindi naman hindi naman overnight nga yan, Kat, no? It took a lot of these years and a lot of marami na pong legislation, yung mga legislators natin na naghahain ng mga batas. Ngayon, kung friendly yung presidente, friendly yung kongreso, tsaka may tinatawag na lobby groups yan. Yung mga may interest dyan na ipasa yung a certain law, they are the lobby groups. Now, lobby groups po, pera po yan. Mamumudbud ng pera yan. So slowly, they make certain laws and then tuloy-tuloy certain laws. Hanggang, remember that time na pinasa yung EPIRA. Pinasa yung EPIRA, una napasa yung oil deregulation bill, right? Napasa yung EPIRA. Now all of this, yung gumagawa niyan ay yung mga lobby groups. Tapos, meron silang champion sa Kongreso o sa Senado. Meron silang parang leader dyan na tao nila. Ibig sabihin, sila yung principal. Ibig sabihin, sila yung pinagbigyan ng pera to lead this. And then iahain yan, tapos magkokombinse yan ng mga congressman. So from Congress, they make a bill. It goes to the Senate, they approve it, and then from the Senate, goes to the President, and then he approves it or vetoes it. But from all of those steps, yung lobby groups po, sa likod niyan, ang nagpapamudmud ng pera. That's what you call lobbying. Dito sa Pilipinas, hindi ganun ka-obvious yan. Kasi hindi parang accepted yung lobby groups. Pero nangyayari. Pero sa US po, sa Kongreso ng US, hindi po tinatago yung lobbying. Lantaran. So sasabihin lang niya parang, ako, I represent the oil industry. I represent the big pharma. Ako maglalabi niyan. Ipupush ko tong batas na to. Pero alam mo kung sino yan. Tapos yung Kongreso, yung Congressman, o yung Senate, or yung magboboto yan according to his conscience. Pero public knowledge yan. Public knowledge na ito yung pinaglalaban natin. Ito yung gusto kong mangyari. So alam ng publiko kung sino yung mga senador at sino yung mga kongresista ang sumuporta dito sa bill na to at kung sino yung principal. Dito, nakatago pa, nagkukunwari pa para sa Pilipino. Pero alam nila, it's for the private big groups. Kasi hindi nakalabas kung sino yung mga lobby groups. Yun ang nangyayari dito. So, this whole time, nasisira at lumaban tayo sa EPIRA, lumaban tayo sa Oil Deregulation Act, lumaban tayo doon, pumunta tayo sa Senado, we gave them materials, we gave them, pero wala pa rin, napasa. So ngayon, we are at that era na, okay, never naman bumaba yung cost ng electricity. Kahit sinabi nila, pag nag-deregulate na, bababa.
Oh.
Bumababa yung cost ng langis, tumaas pa.
Yes.
I remember, marami akong kaibigan natatawa kay ERAP kasi sabi niya, nung tumataas in his term, si ERAP, wala akong magagawa. Hindi na kontrolado ng gobyerno ang pagtaas o pagbaba ng langis. That's telling. But he knew the law. Because we passed the Oil Deregulation Act. We don't have control. We have certain police powers lang, kunwari. But we cannot dictate. Because itong mga private interests ang nagdidikta. Now, we passed the EPIRA. They own the energy generation, they own the retail energy distribution, and they own the energy transmission. Right? So National Grid Corporation, everything, sila ang nagtatransmit yan. So, lahat sila in each step, pag nag-produce ng kilowatt, dadaan sa transmission grid, papatungan. Pagdaan sa distribution, papatungan. Okay, so ang generation naman, binibili yung electricity from them, may patong na yon. So pagdating sa consumer, napatungan na ng tatlong malaking korporasyon. Right? And ito yung nangyayari ngayon. Lahat yan, may middleman na. Ang ginawa ng mga deregulation at privatization, gumawa sila ng middleman. Nung dati, wala. Gobyerno sa atin. Straight. Gumawa silang middleman ngayon. Ang middleman ang kumikita. Ang consumer, bayad ng bayad. Taas pa ng taas ng buwis. Taas ng bilihin. Hindi, So to cope with that, magpiprint ng pera ang gobyerno. That's just what's happening. So that has happened over a lifetime, over the past 30 years, 40 years. Ngayon lang bumibilis kasi ito na naman tayo. Nakikita na naman natin yung ano. Siguro nakikita niya kung gaano nakakayanan ng Pilipino. Tinutulak nila yung Pilipino magrevolusyon. Titignan natin kung gaano ka pasensyoso mga Pilipino. Gaano ka religyoso. Dasal na lang, may Diyos ang awa, sa kanya na lang natin paubaya. Hindi gagalaw yung Pilipino. Personally, mahirap na sabihin na gusto ng Diyos to eh. Di ba? Obvious na hindi. Lahat ng tao namamatay, nagkakasakit. Di ba?
Nahirapan.
So this is that's why again, that frustrated text, pasensya na. Siguro my responsibility is to write a longer essay on it and why I said this and why it might lead to fascism. Because you will need to control the frustrations of people. You will need to control the rioting over food. You will need to do that. Kasi gutom na yung mga taong bayan. Tapos yung iba, they turn to drugs.
Yes.
They turn to selling drugs again because yung trabaho nila not enough. Hindi ba?
Correct.
So lalaganap naman yung pagbenta ng droga dito sa Pilipinas. Sira na yung Republic. Sira na naman yung Republic and the more we will be pushed into a situation. Alam mo po, si Napoleon at si Hitler at si Mussolini, yung mga diktador, yung mga pasista, they rose because of a depressed economic, following a depression. Nawalan trabaho yung mga Alemanya, yung Germans, gutom dahil sa sanctions imposed on them by the Western world after World War I. Right? So binigay, dahil sa ganyan, pasok itong si Hitler, sabi niya, kailangan mabalik sa mga Aleman yung trabaho. Tanggalin natin yung mga Hudyo, tanggalin natin yung mga foreigner. Charismatic tong si Hitler. Ang ganda ng mga pasabi niya. Pasabog niya. So doon sasabihin nila, oo nga, tama to, tanggalin na natin, atin yung bansa natin, tanggalin na natin yung mga foreigner, atin yung mga trabaho. Fascista. Alam na natin po kung ano na nangyari pagkatapos no. Doon po ako natatakot kasi baka may pumasok dito sa atin at dahil sa gutom na yung taong bayan at wala nang solusyon ng gobyerno. Right? And this is what happened. Same thing in France, French Revolution, ganun rin. Nag-install sila ng mga gago, mas grabe pa. This is what happened with Mussolini sa Italy. 1920s, depressed. After World War I, depressed po yung Italy. Walang trabaho mga tao. Pasok itong charismatic, siya may solusyon. Doon sila napunta. Pero sabi niya, kailangan pasista tayo. Diktador ako. Yun ang nangyari. In all cases, that's the trend, and that's how nations die, and that's how people die. So takot na takot po ako, parang nakikita ko we are moving slowly towards that. Not even slowly, para tayong pinapadala dun sa situation na yun. Yun, Kat.
Thank you, Ito, sa nakaka-ano talaga yan. But bigay ko lang yung pagkakataon kay Johnny Ventosa para magtanong sa iyo. Magandang gabi, Johnny Ventosa. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Sorry, my God. Itos, I'm glad you're talking this way. You're really making the people realize how terrible our situation really is. We're not a failing society. We're not a failing country. We are a failed country. The way I look at it, we are a failed country. And I think the people are the only ones who can do something about this. We have patriots out there in the Senate grounds working and doing everything they can. And it's the people that have to move. It's the people. I mean, I've lost all confidence for the government, almost completely. And I won't talk about it, but I just lost confidence, and that includes everybody. And the thing is, I think I don't know how to keep the people alive. I know that they're all complaining. I know that they don't like what's going on, but what is it that's stopping them from doing something, from moving, from I don't know. But it's how come it can happen in France, everywhere around the world? People are rising up, except here in the Philippines. They're not doing anything. I'm so tempted to even suggest that the church should help us. But of course, the church has taken the noble stand of following the Constitution and saying that they do not belong to it. I mean that they cannot interfere with politics. And yet they have been doing that forever, except this time. We need them. They're the ones who should tell the Catholics, look, do something about it. Because that's what the Catholic mind is waiting for. Because they like having a hero there to tell them to move. I don't know. But I'm really so desperate that really I think we need the church to help us. But they won't. I know they won't. They won't. Because I mean they're part of it, period. I'm sorry. But the thing is that I don't know what do we and you know ethos. I mean what you have mentioned is nothing compared to what is actually going on, and you know it. And you just maybe you don't have the time to even mention all these things. Because the truth is that there is much more involved, much more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if DOH is already poisoning our vegetables with mRNA vaccines because they're planning to do that. It's horrible. You are being very kind, but I think it's horrible. Let me take my breath and maybe I'll come back later. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Carlitos, any comment or answer to Johnny?
No comment at this point. I think our friend Johnny has laid down a lot of the frustration that we also feel.
Mhm. Obviously, dismayado si Johnny, katulad natin, no? Dismayado sa nangyayari sa ating pamahalaan, sa ating buhay, in fact. At pero ang tanong ko lang, kasi kanina you mentioned the Oil Regulation Act, yung EPIRA o Electric Power Industry Reform Act, Public-Private Partnership, tapos ito pang tungkol sa importation, diba, na naging problema rin ng ating mga farmers. Ang tanong ko lang dito, is it possible ba na kung itong mga batas na ito ay nakakasama sa bansa, sa taong bayan, hindi ba dapat ito tinatanggal na, inaamendahan o ano? At may dapat gawin eh. 'Di ba? Kasi nakakasama itong mga batas na to, bakit nandyan pa rin? Is it just because these people in the power or tinatawag natin mga oligarko, sila yung may pera kaya na kaya nilang bayaran yung ating mga legislators, yung ating mga mambabatas? Ano naman ang mukha na merong ihaharap sa taong bayan itong mga politiko natin na nandyan, yung ating mga mambabatas natin? Itos.
I think it nandun na kasi naging batas eh. So the fight is actually, kasi ang hirap ngayon to repeal that batas without the support of the Congress and the Senate again.
Mhm.
And lalo na kung nakuha na sila ng lobby groups, sila nagpasimuno nito. Paano mo ngayon lapitan na wala kang pera, na wala kang pang-lobby, na i-repeal tong legislation na sila ang gumawa. Now, since ito yung magiging, kunwari lang, yung Oil Deregulation Act, ito yung magiging batas na. Pag na-approve po yan, ito yung mga oligarko, nagpo-posisyon na. Nagpo-posisyon na kung saan kami kikita dyan. Whether it's importation, dito kami sa other things, no, retail, lahat. Pero alam nila magiging deregulated, quote unquote. Pero if you study, pag pinag-aralan nyo yung oil industry, hindi po tulog ang deregulated yan. Monopoly pa rin yan. Na walang nagsasalita dahil malaki yung mga oligarko dyan. Di ba? So ngayon, itong electricity na itinulak during Gloria's President Macapagal's term, they put it out. Laban yan, nag-vote sila. Pira. Ngayon, sino magboboto na tanggalin? Kasi simple lang magpakita ng success or not success ng EPIRA. Simple lang magpakita yung kung ang music yata. Simple lang kasi makita kung successful yung law or hindi. Successful in the terms of did it benefit the Filipino people or not? Numero lang naman yan eh. Madali naman it's easy to come up with numbers to prove that. But as we learn, I don't think any of our congressmen, our lawmakers are interested in repealing that. Kasi yung mga oligarko, yung mga big oil companies, kumikita na ngayon out of that. Ba't sila alis dyan? Tapos if you repeal that, magagalit sila. Mawawala na yung nagbabayad sa'yo. Lobbyist fees. Diba? So, it's not a question anymore. Nakalungkot nga, again, part of the failed state. Hindi na po question kung hindi ba dapat tanggalin kung failure siya o nakakasama sa Pilipino. Hindi naman yan yung question. Kasi it's a rhetorical question. Kasi dapat lang tanggalin. Pero hindi nila gagawin. Masyado nang malaki yung kita. Masyado nang malaki yung kinikita ng mga iba't ibang layers ng society on that. There's a whole industry. Now, tanggalin mo, ano ipapalit mo? Tanggalin mo yung Oil Regulation Act. How will we now manage our oil? The only way, in my mind, that you can manage that is to go with BRICS. You can go with BRICS, make arrangements with Russia, with Saudi Arabia, and make it convertibility peso to ruble or peso to Saudi Arabian riyal or whatever currency that is. And you can get oil for cheap and long term. Hindi ba ho? So yun ang solusyon. Pero hindi nila gagawin yan. Because we are stuck to the dollar system that is failing right now. You can do that straight. Saudi Arabia, Russia, and they're willing. Pagkatapos, yung mga manufacturing and agriculture products to steady our prices while we are building our capability to produce, you can talk to China. They can help us build our rail systems. They can help us with. They know what to do. Yung experience ng China to build rail and build a supply chain from their provinces to the big cities and to the airports. Alam na nila yan. Ginawa na nila yan. Less than a generation, nagawa na nila. So madaling gawin kung gusto. Hindi pa problema yung Kasi ang ginagawa nila, pinoproblema nila. Tinatakot kasi ng mga bankero, tinatakot kasi ng central bank, tinatakot ka ni Ben Diokno na wag mong gagawin yan, patay tayo sa credit standing ng buong mundo. Hindi tayo papahiramin ng pera. Anong pera ang papahiramin sa'yo? Wala na, bangkarote na nga yung dollar eh. Petrodollar system. Doon ka na sa BRICS. Hindi ba ho? Doon ka na sa BRICS. Doon ka na sa towards the future, towards building agriculture, infrastructure, technologies, medicines, everything that a human being needs. Doon ka na sumama. So there is a solution to that. Gagawin ba nila? Your guess is as good as ours. And that's why, lalo na ngayon, we can say we're failed. We've failed as a nation. We've failed as a republic up to this point. We've failed. And if you continue to love this country as a patriot, if you continue to stand up pag may lupang hinirang, or if you know in your heart yung panatang makabayan, then you're a patriot. You will recognize now we have failed as a nation. We have failed our past and we are failing our future as this nation. Because we are not operating anymore as a republic. We are operating as para tayong isang distrito ng mga congressman eh. Sila lang nagsasabi pero wala tayong karapatan. We cannot change anything. We cannot improve the systems kung ayaw nila. This is what's happening. So it's frustrating po sa atin na sabihan dapat palitan. Dapat papalitan talaga yan in a functional republic. Hindi na tayo nagfa-function as a republic. Yung Kongreso, ano lang yan eh. O anong boboto mo? Ito, boboto ba natin? Ito yung legislation na ganyan. O sige, numero lang naman yan eh. Boto. Senate, ganun rin. Ano yung boboto mo? Boto tayo dito, ganyan. Pare, lahat sila, barkada eh. Wala na yung... I've never heard a congressman. The only recent government official that I was impressed with is Governor of Cagayan. Si Mamba ba yun? Manda?
Governor Mamba.
Now, he talagang fighting for his people and fighting on principle. Hindi siya natatakot sa media, wala siyang pakialam magpagwapo sa mga interview. At nilalabanan niya yung mga maling perception ng mga media kahit tinutulak sa kanya. Yan ang patriotiko. In defense of his own province and his country. The other one I have to commend is Governor Garcia of Cebu.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Until now, kahit alam mong si Governor Gwen, she has her idiosyncrasies, and she has her own personality, pero tumaas tayo siya, lumalaban siya at the height of the lockdown. Lumalaban siya. And she is an independent thinker, and she is fighting for her own constituents. And our national government seems to be fighting against, not in the interest of our own people, but in the interest of private enterprise again. Because they are criticizing Gwen Garcia for being independent and saying, no, we do our own research, we don't have to follow you. Tapos tinetreaten pa siya. Hindi ba? Parang they don't want free speech. They do not want independent thinking. Kasi daw kailangan sumunod sa utos ng WHO at utos ng mga gustong mambenta ng bakuna. Hindi ba? Sa ibang bansa, yung mga tao ayaw na magpabakuna. Kahit tinutulak nila. Diba? So this is, it is, we are really right now, if you're going to grade our status, grade our nation as a republic, failed. Failed again. We've failed our people. We've failed our founding fathers. We've failed all those before us that have fought for freedom and development. We failed Salvador Ananeta, who wanted to create a right banking system after World War II. Right? We failed the Roosevelt forces. And we failed our future. We failed the future leaders of our country. We failed our unborn children. Failed. That's what it is. Yun lang po, Kat.
Okay, thank you Ito sa 8:17 na po ng gabi, Philippine Standard Time. At kayo po ay nakikinig pa rin sa himpilan ng RMN ZXL 558 kHz sa AM band.
Ang ating Katipunan ay mapapanood sa Partido KDP FB page at Katipunan ng Demokratikong Pilipino YouTube account. Kayo ay nakikinig sa
Ating Katipunan.
Okay, at merong mga nagme-message lang dito at gusto ko lang din i-mention yung ating mga kasama dito sa Zoom, nandyan si Sally Clark, Johnny Ventosa, si Mary Jane Abarides Bongkayaw, at si Claire at si GB nandito. Johnny Ventosa, of course, Giancarlo EY. At may message lang si CGB kanina, Ito nga, stop SB 1869 daw. So, ayon sa kanya, sinama ang International Health Regulation ng WHO sa lokal na batas ng Pilipinas. Panghihimasok daw sa pamamaraan ng pagtugon ng Pilipinas sa public health emergency. Marami pa to, siyami to na mga binanggit niya, But balikan ko lang etong ating pinag-uusapan nga, Kanina binanggit mo etong si Mussolini at etong nangyayari nga sa ating bansa na kapag talagang tawag dito, hindi mawalan na ng kakayahan yung taong bayan na ika nga natin ay makasurvive sa kahirapan, ang mangyayari dito, gulo, 'di ba? Sabi mo nga kanina, pumapasok na tayo dito, pumapasok na yung mga kababayan natin sa pagbebenta ng illegal na droga dahil sa kahirapan. At pag sinabi mong pasista, pag sinabi mong paano ba maiintindihan ng tao na pag ganito na ganito yung nangyayari sa ating bansa, ano pa ba ang susunod na kahihinatnan? Anyway, meron lang nag-message sa atin, baka gusto raw na magsalita ni Sally Clark. Sally? Are you there? Yan. I-unmute lang natin siya. Hi, Sally. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Do you have question to Itos?
No, I'm just listening to everything. I think this is a very good presentation about all of the things that we need to be concerned with. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sally. At meron pa tayong isa, Johnny Ventosa. Saan si Johnny? Go ahead, Johnny.
Okay. Yeah, what was it you were asking, Cathy?
Do you have questions to Itos then?
No, not right now. Give me time to think. I just finished dinner.
Okay. Where is... Okay. Sino ba yung nagtataas pa kaninang kamay? Okay. Meron lang din, sino to? Ano ba tong... Okay. Yan. O, sabi ni Engineer Lemmy, si Engineer Lemmy ay nanonood ngayon. Next Sunday ay sasama daw siya sa ating Zoom Itos. Okay. Yan. Sige. Pagbigyan natin tong si Carlo. Okay, Carlo?
Okay. Tatlo na ang tanong ko, no? Ano nangyari at bakit naging failed state ang Pilipinas po sa ngayon? At anong pwedeng gawin ng mga Pilipino? At pinakauli, saan nagkulang ang ating gobyerno? Bakit nagkaganito ang bansa natin? At siguro yun muna ang dapat natin bantayan, no? So yan po muna ang tanong ko diyan.
Okay, sige. Itos.
Carlo, it's very general question, no? Parang pinag-usapan na namin yan this whole since 7 o'clock yung bakit po naging failed state, no? I think nilatag na natin yung why I consider Philippines a failed state because of the institutions that the government institutions and government mismo are not able to govern anymore. They are ruled by private interest. We've given up our mandate since these past administrations. We've slowly eroded the authority of government, and we've undermined all our institutions, our Congress, our legislative, and even our executive. And therefore, they don't function as they were intended to function as with the Constitution. So I consider it a failed state. And definitely what we've been talking about this past hour is kung paano natin ayusin, anong dapat natin gawin. So yun na lang, Carlo. Thank you.
Thank you, Itos. Alam ko na ang Save the Nation, of course, at ang KDP, ay may itinutulak na Article 12, Section 17, 18, and 22, no? At ang tanong lang, ang malaking tanong, alam ba ng ating pamahalaan na sa ating konstitusyon ay merong ganito na pwede nating, should I say, panlaban o sagot sa nangyayari sa ating bansa na kahirapan? Itos?
Hindi yan yung sagot. It's not an answer. Article 12 is not an answer. It's an instrument whereby the government can take back its power. The government can take back its basic goods and services fully in control and therefore implement solutions to benefit the people. Now, what are those solutions? It has to be laid out. But the Constitution provides the instrument. Hindi magsosolve. Kung ang presidente na kung may presidente tayong loko-loko, pwede rin niyang gamitin yung Article 12. Hindi ba? Hindi naman sinasabi sa Article 12 na kailangan mabait yung presidente ang gagamit nito. That's not what the Constitution says. So it is not a end all and be all, but it provides in this current circumstance, current situation, current environment, where we are teetering towards a brink of chaos. Okay, that instrument by which government can take control and take control legally and within the rights of the Constitution to take control of our basic goods, whether it's electricity, oil, food, water, everything else, telecommunications in a state of emergency, and therefore right away implement mitigating solutions for now. But that is not long term. Hindi po yan solution to do that. It is a way na hindi kailangan mag-diktador o hindi kailangan mag-martial law. So, yung Article 12 lang is an instrument or it is a clause that can be used. I'm sure, kunyari, sa ating Presidente Marcos, kung interesado talaga siya doon, he will use his lawyers, the lawyers of government, and everybody, cabinet members, say, we will do this, and kausap niya yung mga oligarko, yung mga in charge sa mga electricity, yung mga may interest dito sa mga deregulated industries, telecoms, food, agriculture, at sasabihin lang, we need to do this now. And we need to, and this is why we need to do this. Dahil magkakagera, kunwari, at hindi bumababa yung onions, hindi bumababa yung presyo ng onions at yung bigas tumataas, kailangan kontrolin natin ulit. Diba? It's just a tool. It's just a provision that can be used by leadership. It is not the end all and be all. Yun lang po.
Thank you, Itos, for that clarification. Bigyan ko lang na pagkakataon si Johnny Ventosa, nagkakasya ngayon. Johnny?
Let us assume that right now, I think there are 91 nations that are really seriously considering joining the BRICS. If, let us say, we're the ones who are not in it, would that be the end of it all for us? I think I have a feeling that, you know what? I have a feeling that that's the time when the people will wake up and say, no, something has to be done. Because, they'll find themselves in it already. And I think there's still hope for us. A great deal big hope for us. I don't think we can we will not stand up and say enough is enough. Because the people have to finally experience the worst to be able to say enough is enough. That's all.
Thank you, Johnny. Itos?
Yeah, yung akin po, may dalawang possible scenarios po. Assume po natin na hindi magkagera. Let's say hindi magkagera ang sa China, tapos hindi lumawak ang gera in Ukraine, and everything calms down. If that happens, number one, that assumes that the U.S. leadership has finally started to listen to reason and started to extend hand of cooperation with BRICS and the rest of the countries na parang ayusin na natin tong gulo, ayaw na namin manggera. Kasama po tayo dyan. And definitely our leadership because our leadership seems to be just waiting for the US to make its move. Tapos sunod na tayo, di ba? So parang ganun ang nangyayari. Scenario 2 is magkagera and against China, then there is no such thing as the BRICS and the Western banking system. All bets are off. Kung magkagera po, wala nang financial system, wala nang ganyan. There will not be any, it will be nuclear war. Now, if there's nuclear war, all bets are off. It doesn't matter anong financial system mo, anong pinagagawa nyo. Kahit sabihin ni Presidente Marcos, gagamitin niya Artikulo 12, nagkagera. Tapos binomba na yung mga EDCA sites natin. Assuming buhay pa tayo, paano tayo mabubuhay? So there's only two scenarios. That's that I see. And it's not, there's no gray areas in between. Pag nagkagera, we won't survive as a nation.
Wala na tayong pag-uusapan.
Wala tayong pag-uusapan. Pag hindi nagkagera, kailangan yung US ang mauna. Kasi tayo, lumalabas tayo, sunod-sunuran lang tayo. We are a failed republic. We do not have independence. Our last gasp at independence was the last administration. Because he demonstrated an ability to... Now, if the Vice President, Sara Duterte, is anything like her father, then we might have a chance to have an independent foreign policy. But when will that happen? That's the scenarios I see moving forward. There is no in-between. There is no situation where magkagera pero sama tayo sa BRICS. There is no situation where hindi magkagera tapos yung petrodollar system, Western banking system ay buhay. Patay na yan, bangkarote na yan. So kailangan sumama tayo sa BRICS. And the only way this will be resolved peacefully is if the US, not the British, not London, not France, not Germany. Yung US lang kailangan. Pag sumama sila kay Putin at kay Xi at sa India, Modi, ba yun? Apat lang sila. Sabi nga ni Lyndon LaRouche, the four powers. Mag-summit sila at sabihin nila, game tayo, ayusin na natin ang mundo. Tapos ang boxing, we can look forward to a better life. Without the IMF and without the World Bank and with the new financial architecture called the BRICS, and then we can think about our future. Otherwise,
Wala.
ilan.
Thank you, Itos, no, sa sinabi mong yan. And nagpadala si CGB ng isang naging mensahe ni Professor Butch at katabi nga sa isang image na pinadala sa atin yung kay Franklin Delano Roosevelt. No? Pero basahin muna natin yung kay Chairman Butch. Sabi niya, we must remove those laws which have increased the burden on our people, benefiting only a few. We must go back to the essence of the Constitution, provide for the general welfare as a guiding principle. Yan ang sabi ni Professor Butch. At sabi naman ni Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. Diba? Nakita natin yan, Itos. At meron pa pinadala, what you want to your country to be in the future will determine what you will do today. Ayon yan sa mensahe o message dati na nakapost din to sa KDP page natin. At alam nyo, marami tayong mga texters ngayon. So it's time to read the text messages sent by our listeners. Their opinion does not necessarily reflect our own, but we reserve the right to read them to the public in the interest of freedom of speech. Okay, simulan natin sa ating mga suki na taga-subaybay. Sabi ni I am love. Sabi, grabe, global ang problema dahil hawak din nila ang media. Yan ang sabi ni I am love. At sabi ni Loco Hopo, sa tingin niyo po, the political vacuum na nangyayari sa BBM administration will lead to impeachment or worse, civil war? Question to ni Loco Hopo, Itos. Itos?
Tinatanong niya, will lead to civil war?
Yes, lead to impeachment or worse, civil war.
Yeah, could be, but that's part of that will be part of the disintegration of the republic as we see. So before it goes to goes to a martial law type or fascist type of situation. Okay, and it doesn't mean na may civil war. Yung nanalo, kunyari, civil war, on one side is the forces of Leni and the one side is the forces of Bongbong. Pareho silang walang alam. Pareho silang walang ideas. What solutions have they provided? Yung mga ibang tao na ini-insist na si Leni pa rin ng solusyon, wala siyang nabigay na solusyon dati pa.
Problema lang.
She is bankrupt in her head. She doesn't have solutions. Okay, so stop that. Let's stop playing around with that. Hindi, it's not about two forces. Hindi dalawang kampo. It's about solutions for the Filipino people now and in the next 50 years. Okay, and this is what we're facing now, and we have to implement the blueprint. And the way to do it, the blueprint that we if there is a chance that we can, if there is a chance that there is a referendum or a chance that we can present our blueprint, mauuna tayo dyan. We have the solutions, but these are the decisions we have to make. And we will use the Article 12 of the Constitution to effect that change immediately. We need to take control first and then we implement the blueprint. I guarantee you, walang blueprint ang mga ibang tao dyan. Zero. Yung mga kaliwa may blueprint. Sunog na yung mga kaliwa. Yung mga leftists, yung mga Marxists, communists, they're done. Their philosophy and their principles are all done. Nobody believes them anymore. Doesn't hold water. It never stood the test of time. Their leaders are shown to be charlatans and fakers. Okay, so let's not even discuss it. The debate will be between the free trade, fascism, and where the markets rule, and the republic of, by, and for people. That's where the debate will come from.
Wala naman kay Pedro Hill, can we not form or organize our own government? If this government is so corrupt and so greedy, then why can't we change the leadership? Yun ang tanong ni Pedro Hill.
The way to change it within the Constitution is through elections. And the way to change it effectively, number one, is to educate your own leaders to the barangays, to the Congress, and that's the path. And then be vigilant about the election, the electoral process. Now, on the other side, you can do extra constitutional means, which is revolution and armed struggle, which is the communism style. But you still need a force, you still need to educate, because remember the lessons of the French Revolution. They were hijacked by the fascists. And the ones who had the best intentions, the thinkers, Lafayette, and the others who initiated that this thing start to go, this thing moves, yung revolutionary thought moves, were put aside. And they were overcome by the fascist movement ng mga kaliwa na kontrolado rin ng mga oligarko. That's what happened in France. That's why, shortly after the revolution, pinatay nila lahat ng thinkers, pinatay nila lahat ng scientists, lahat ng kumukontra nila, pinapatay nila. Yan ang fascista. Hindi yan ang solusyon. Yan ang kinakatakutan ko, na may leader dyan na umangat dahil ng mga tao walang trabaho at walang gutom na at magka-revolusyon, at may umangat dyan na isang leader na pasista. Sasabihin lang sa mga tao, ako magbibigay ng trabaho sa iyo, ako magaganyan sa iyo, ako magaganyan sa iyo. Eh, ganyan umakyat si Hitler eh. Ganyan din si Napoleon eh. Yun ang nangyayari dyan. Yun ang mangyayari. Yun ang kinakatakutan ko. And the only way is not through an emotional revolution. The only way is a revolution in the mind, by which you have the Republican principles deeply ingrained in every single patriot, that you are assured that these stupid things don't happen again.
Thank you, Itos. At sabi ni Lynn Mutasarco, ano ba ang unahin ngayon? Agriculture ba? Or bigas, quote-unquote, o yung investment for manufacturing?
Both. It has to be both, Lynn. Hindi yan one or the other. Lahat. Investment in agriculture, rising agriculture, investment in manufacturing, investment in energy, investment in transportation. Sabay-sabay po yan. Pwedeng gawin yan. Why? It can be done through a credit system. Not through monetary, not BSP and private banks. Government banks. You put a national bank together and it will issue credit for all infrastructure needs. And it will give you low credit, 1% over 25 years. Because ang interest ng national bank na yan ay hindi kumita.
Yes.
Ang interest niyan is to help government develop agriculture, industry, everything. Yung industry natin, yung steel industry, chemical industry, pharmaceutical industry, agriculture, all of that. Pwedeng sabay-sabay po yan. Nagawa na ng US yan eh. In the 1800s, nagawa na ng Japan yan eh. Nagawa na ng Russia yan. Credit lang. Ang mahirap kasi, lahat tayo, our generation, the generation before us, and the generation before that, were all taught the central banking system. They were not taught the Hamiltonian banking system, which is Alexander Hamilton po, the first Treasury Secretary of the US, na sabi niya, we will issue credit. And this is supported by Lyndon LaRouche. A credit system is the best. Ang credit po, hindi siya loan. It is credit. We will give credits. Government can utter credit because we are a sovereign nation. So, kunyari, gusto mo magpatayo ng nuclear power plant, lapit ka sa gobyerno, papatayo ako. O sige, since kailangan natin ng energy immediately, we will loan you the money, credit. Government, I owes you. Diba? Hindi yan pareho ng credit card. Credit card, in a sense, credit card is the same. In a sense na parang you can pay for something ahead. But the credit card will charge you 30% at the end of the year. Tapos maluluho ka sa pagbayad ng credit card. Itong gobyerno, 1% fixed over 25 years. Why? Because the intention is to grow industry. The intention is to grow the economy. I guarantee you, 0 legislators in Congress and Senate, sasabihin ko na yan, understand the credit system, have read about the credit system. 0. 0 po. Sana may mag-correct sa akin dito sa, one day, may mag-text sa akin, mali yung sinabi ko, I understand it. Di kunin ko na, sama ka na sa amin, di ba? Pero guaranteed, wala sa kanilang naintindihan na credit system. Pati na yung mga economic managers ng gobyerno natin, They don't understand the credit system. They don't care to understand the credit system. Kasi yun ang kalaban ng speculative central banking system natin ngayon. That's why we can never develop. That's why lahat ng ginagawa ni President Marcos and the previous presidents, na hirap sila, parang lumalaki pa yung utang, parang hindi tayo makakalabas sa pag-uutang.
Tayo makaamon.
Tapos lumalaki at lumalaki yung utang, yung mismong amounts. For what we're getting. Are we constructing 25 nuclear power plants kaya lumaki utang natin? Hindi. Are we constructing more agricultural estates to feed our people, to increase our production 10 times? Kaya lumaki utang natin? Hindi. Saan napupunta? Ba't lumalaki yung utang natin, local and panlabas, pero parang pareho, mas mahirap pa yung buhay natin. Mas mahal ang bilihin.
Buwisa nila.
Because they do not understand the credit system. That is Alexander Hamilton po. And tayo, responsibilidad po natin dito sa mga lahat ng tagapakinig natin dito ngayon to understand that. You cannot talk about improving an economy if you don't understand that, because you will not have any solution within this central banking system. Zero po. Again, zero. Walang nakakaintindi niyan. At responsibilidad namin dito sa Ating Katipunan at ang Save the Nation to educate people on that. We do not take credit for that. We will give you the material, pag-aralan nyo. That is the credit system. That is how it is. Ang pinakamalapit dyan, ang gustong i-establish, tama ka, Ver, ang gustong i-establish dito na credit system ay si Salvador Araneta, because he is a follower of Franklin Roosevelt, and they wanted to rebuild our banking system through the Bretton Woods. Pero nung namatay si FDR, tinanggal na sila sa trabaho, ginawang intriga, pumasok na yung central bankers ulit. And dito na tayo ngayon. But to answer your question again, both, we need to invest in all, and only through a credit system can we do that. We cannot do it through this central banking system. They will not allow us. Yun lang po.
Sabi ni Stormy Savi, dahil sa nararamdaman kong frustrations mo, Itos, advisable ba na mag-abroad na lang tayo at wag nang umuwi dito sa Pilipinas? Itos?
Saan po kayo pupunta na walang hirap?
Buong mundo
Diba?
na.
Unless mayaman ka na meron kang island sa Greece or punta ka sa New Zealand na mamuhay ka, you have land there sa New Zealand. But that's not the solution, because you can't run from the economic devastation that's coming. That's here. Mas mahirap pa nga sa ibang bansa kasi wala kang kasamang pamilya, wala kang kasamang fellow Filipino. Lahat foreigners yan, they will not respect you. It's difficult. There's nowhere you can hide now. Lalo na sa US ngayon, ang gulo-gulo ng US ngayon. Ang mahal ng bilihin ng US ngayon. And that's all over the world now.
Okay.
Diba? And no matter if, kung maski na gusto ko yung economy and mga leadership ng China and Russia, ayoko rin pumunta doon. Bakit? Kasi tayo mga Pinoy, we are used to speaking our minds. Gustong-gusto natin free speech. Now, Russia and China, medyo limited yung free speech mo. Pabutin lang, magaling yung mga liderato nila. And they can't complain, and they love their leadership. They love Xi Jinping and they love Putin. But they also have their shortcomings as a form of government. You cannot speak out loud against government in China. They're still communist. Hindi ba? So dito na lang tayo. Tignan natin. We will live and fight and die here. That's the way I see it. Sige po.
Tama ka dun, Itos, at ito ang pagpilitan natin na makaahon tayo, di ba? Sabi naman ni Rose Reolada, good evening po Sir Itos at Ma'am Cathy. Di po ba may ginto ang Pilipinas at matured na ito at dapat magamit na ito sa infra ng bansa at mga trabaho through industrialization. Bakit kaya walang ginawa admin tungkol dito? Yan. Sabi naman ni Shello CG, ano na ang nangyayari sa mga Pilipino? Asan na ang patriotism? Noon tumaas lang ang presyo ng galunggo. Nagkakaisa na ang mga tao. Ngayon, 5 times ang taas ng kuryente, pero walang kumikibo. Ano ba yan? Ano ba yan ng bayan ng Katipunero? Yan. At sabi naman ni Boyet Cariabras, good evening po Miss Cathy at mga katipon, nakakabinging katahimikan ang media ngayon sa talamak na korupsyon ng McCoy Jr. Administration. Lalo na ang talamak din ng smuggling ng DA. Magkano kaya ang dahilan? 31 million, pabudol pa more. Mabuhay mga ka-DDS from Subic. At mula kay Lynn Muta Sarko, si ERAP kasi ang nag-abolish ng Price Control Council. Sabi naman ni Luis Gerald, good evening po sa inyo, Ma'am Cathy at Sir Itos. God bless you both. Sir Itos, what are your thoughts tungkol sa mga produkto na sumali sa woke agenda po? Halimbawa, dun sa nangyari sa Bud Light Beer, lalo na kay Dylan Mulvaney, at ngayon naman yung sa Miller Lite po. Papeles ang nagbibilang ng boto, hindi ang makina. Do you want to comment, Itos?
What's happening sa US kasi ngayon, lumalabas lahat ng baho ng 2020 elections sa US. So lahat ng investigations, kaka-hearing lang nila with meron silang FBI whistleblowers na nagsabi sa Kongreso na they admit that they use their intelligence network to go after Donald Trump so that hindi siya manalalo sa 2020. So delikado po yan. And they were used by Hillary and Obama. Malaking storya po yan. Again, yung mainstream media ng US, hindi ito pinapalabas. So that's what's happening. Sobrang gulo ngayon sa US and the leadership. And then, yung isa? Kat, yung una?
Yung sa Miller Lite.
Yes, kasi that's a political push. It's a bit more complicated than that. Pero ang nangyari kasi, yung beer company na Budweiser, alam mo naman, yung mga iniinom ng beer, parang yung mga, kung head ka ng marketing ng San Miguel Beer, ano yung core market mo, di ba? Alam na natin yon. So same thing with Budweiser, pero ang ginawa nilang endorser, isang trans na tao. Trans. Siyempre nagalit yung market nila. Ayaw nila kasi yon, bagsak yung sales. Super bagsak. And so, ang ginawa nila, they fired their marketing head, they fired some people, and then ngayon, parang nililigawan ulit nila yung mga market nila, yung core market nila, na ma-assume yung mga lalaki na gusto mag-beer, tipo gano'n. Hindi nag-work. So parang nawawalan sila ng market share, bumababa yung ano. But this is that's essentially what happened. But there's another aspect to that background. But lahat ng mga kumpanya sa US ngayon, ganun ang ginagawa nila. Tinatawag na woke advertising. Mga woke. Yung mga lahat ng trans, feature nila. Yung Adidas nga, meron siya ngayon. May bathing suit na pambabae, pinasuot nila lalaki. So parang yun yung pinapalabas nila. Lahat sila lumalabas ng ganun style of advertising. Now, this is dictated on them by their creditors, not necessarily the company itself deciding that. Kasi ang big companies po, maraming shareholders, lalo na sa public. So yung public shareholders, a lot of their ownership is with these big banks. And yung mga big banks na to ang nagdidikta sa kanila. So we can go into it next time more essentially, but because we have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes na lang. Napakarami po ng ating mga text. At, pero gusto ko lang balikan to kay Rose Riolada. Sabi niya, good evening po Sir Itos at Ma'am Cathy. Di po ba may ginto ang Pilipinas at matured na ito at dapat magamit na ito sa infra ng bansa at mga trabaho through industrialization. Bakit kaya wala ginagawa admin tungkol dito? Itos?
Ano ulit yung una? Ano yung matured?
Matured yung ginto na meron
Gold.
Pilipinas o yung gold.
Gold is not an accepted worldwide currency for these things. The central banking system does not really trade gold. Ang sinasabi lang nila, pag bumagsak ang salapi, the banking system, there will be a flight to precious metals, and gold is the pinaka-abundant. But you cannot use gold now because parang hihiram tayo ng pera para makabili ng steel or create the industry. Industrialization does not happen overnight. So you need to build it through credit, not through precious metals, not through all of these other things. You have to understand the credit system again. That's the only way that you will be able to build. Now, the credit system will not be, a national bank will not be allowed by the central banks. Yan ang laban. At honestly, yung mga central bankers, papatay nila ang isang leader ng bansa na gustong gumawa nito. O maggagawa sila ng gera. Ganun ka-importante yan.
At sabi, thank you, Itos. Alfredo Redina, present siya. Christopher Cruz, sabi niya, Itos had an article written way back in 2004 by Executive Alert. Your topic was the old regulation law. Sabi naman ni Cesar Soberano, mabuhay KDP ka, Itos, at mga patriotikong Pilipino. The KDP has the roadmap towards progress, peace, and development. Sabi ni Katipunan PJ, we are in the brink of social disintegration. Only Article 12, Section 17, 18 to 22 can survive our country and the next generation. Mga katipon against the hyperinflation, tyrannical SB 1869, EDCA, and Serranis oligarchs sucking the blood of every citizen. Mula kay Nel Seya Casara, good evening to everyone here. John Laitan, watching from the City of Pines. Sem Japet, Doria Aviar, pa-compute nyo budget ng tulay representatives. Nicanor Briones Blanc of debating on climate change, House of Representatives. Judge debating session climate change. Sabi ni Pedro Hill, good evening po sa lahat. Frustrating nga po ang manood ng Senate hearing involving PNP on drugs. Parang moro-moro, may speech na naman si Junior sa murang kuryente, kaya lang involved na naman ang oligarko, kaya lalong nakakairita at nakakalungkot. Parang wala nang kalutasan ng problema. Unless we do some drastic measures, we are all at loss. The oligarchs are even proud announcing that they own the Philippines. Kaya nga inilatag ng mga malalaking korporasyon ang mga entertainment para libangin at makalimutan ng taong problema niya sa kagutuman at kawalang pag-asa. Ang central bank ay hindi naman natin pag-aari kundi sa pilitang inilagay sa lahat ng bansa liban sa ilan para kontrolin ang ekonomiya ng mga ito. Sinadya ni Junior na kunin ang pwesto sa DA dahil para gutumin ang mga Pilipino na siyang pangunahing gusto ng WEF at mga kabal at makontrol tayong lahat. Sabi ni Dominic De Mayo, electric and water. At mula kay Ian Lab, panahon na para pag-alaman ng gusto ano ang Bitcoin. Mula kay Federico Manas, BBM kabaligtaran, BBM siguro to, kabaligtaran sa prinsipyo ng ama niyang FEM. Mula kay Wilhelmina Salzar, good evening Itos and Cathy, Little 9, tama kasi pabaya si PBBM. Tama, pag tumaas na ang bilihin, hindi na bumababa yung candy na, 2 pesos each na. Sa Chinese na nga ang nagtrabaho ang taong mahihirap dito. Paano kung mag-gera, mawala na tayo? Dapat tayong taong bayan, concerned tayo sa nangyayari sa bansa natin. Huwag na tayo mag-idolo ng mga politiko, mabango lang magsalita. Nagbigay lang bahay kahit sa pera ng taong bayan kinuha. Mula kay Amparo Consuelo, we pay our electric bills and water. Profits goes to the oligarchs and water concessionaires. We buy food, money goes to importers and smugglers. Profit should go to government and used for the common good. Mula kay Pedro Hill, kaya yung maharlika ang offer ay 5 million bawat pirma. At ang naglabi dyan, syempre, kaanak na may bala kung sino ang nagpasimula na ng galing sa Davos. Hitler, when he rose to power, the first thing he did was to suppress the media and the art people to prevent them from doing propaganda and influence the people. Nako, alas 9 na. Nako, napakarami pa po namin text. Pero sa ngalan po ng ating mga katipon dito sa ating katipunan at sa magagaling na staff ng DZXL Radyo Mga Nationwide, kami po ay pansamantalang nagpapaalam at nagpapasalamat na sinamahan ninyo kami ngayon ang bola de peligro ng ating bayan at ng buong mundo dito sa ating katipunan. Hanggang sa linggo pong muli mga katipon, 7 to 9 p.m. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Good evening everyone. Itos, thank you. Johnny Ventosa, Carlo EYCGB, Sally C. Napakarami po natin ngayon. Marami pong salamat.
Inyong napakinggan si Itos Valdes kasama si Cathy Cruz at iba pang katipon na nakilahok sa talakayan.
Ating Katipunan.
Samahang muli si Itos Valdes sa susunod na linggo alas 7 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi sa himpilan ng RMN DZXL 558 kHz AM band at social media accounts ng Partido KDP.
Ating Katipunan.